Harry's back, and so are we. Welcome to Leavesden Studios. Who would have thought that this drafty old aircraft factory just a few miles up the M1 from London would, for the last 10 years, have played host to the most successful film series of all time? We're going to go inside and have a snoop. It might not look much from the outside, but believe me, it's inside where all the magic happens. Come behind the scenes of the 7th film in the Harry Potter series. Now, as you know, there are 7 books, so you may be thinking this is the last film. But luckily for us, you're wrong, because it was too big a story to squeeze into just one film. So in fact, this is the first of the last. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. This film is unique because for the first time ever, it all happens away from Hogwarts. Life has changed beyond all imagining. Nothing is as it seems. And by the end of this film, no one is safe and the death toll will be rising. We'll be getting the inside track on the making of this film and picking up some very exclusive snippets.
It is the only moment between Harry and Hermione where you go, are they about to do something?
Finding out what happened when Harry Potter closed down Piccadilly Circus. And for the first time ever, we get to see how they fly a broomstick, and I get to have a go. To be honest, you're not going to get any closer to the stars of the film than this.
Ben!
But make no mistake, this is the most dangerous chapter in the Harry Potter story yet. Our heroes find themselves away from everything that is safe and familiar, struggling to find their way without the guidance of Hogwarts headmaster Albus Dumbledore, who died at the end of the last film, leaving Harry in turmoil without his friend and mentor.
Not only is there the emotional side to Dumbledore's death, which affects Harry, but there's also the kind of the purely practical side that he was the guy who had all the information. And now that he's died, sort of all of that knowledge we think has died with him.
The film sees Harry, with the help of his friends, continue Dumbledore's mission as best he can to destroy Voldemort, the most evil wizard of all time.
Help me!
Voldemort split his soul into 7 different pieces, and he hid the pieces of his soul into these different objects which have personal meaning to him. And so the only way to essentially defeat Voldemort is to destroy each and every one of these Horcruxes.
The question is, did he actually destroy the real Horcrux?
First of all, can you explain why you decided to split the book into 2 parts?
Well, when the idea was first mooted, I thought it was a terrible idea. I mean, we'd never done it before. We discussed doing it on the 4th book, on Goblet of Fire, because that was the first one.
Substantial.
Massive. As the books got larger, we made a decision to tell the story from Harry's point of view. And that meant necessarily that certain things fell by the wayside. In this one, in the 7th book, in Deathly Hallows, everything is really about Harry. And if we were to leave anything out, it would really hurt the story. It wouldn't make sense, really. And if we weren't going to have a 5-hour film, we needed to split it up into 2.
At the start of this film, Harry's preparing to leave Privet Drive, the home of his measly Muggle family, the Dursleys, who took him in when he was orphaned as a baby. But in order to get away without being caught by Voldemort and his followers, his friends have come up with a very clever plan to confuse them. It involves drinking this Polyjuice potion. It's very strong, though. Forget seeing double. There's 7 Harrys in this film. Oh! That's coming home with me. Oh! The plan is that each of his friends will turn into a Harry clone and take a different route back to a safe house.
We go in pairs. That way, if anyone's out there waiting for us, and I reckon there will be, they won't know which Harry Potter is the real one.
The real one?
I believe you're familiar with this particular brew.
No, absolutely not.
I told you you'd take it well.
Every film we have a moment kind of early on which it's sort of where Harry is reminded, but to all intents and purposes the audience are being reminded of the magic and how kind of cool it is. And in this one, that's kind of that moment of just seeing the amazing things magic can do.
Cho wrote it in the book, and you read that and you go, that's a great scene. And then, as you say, there comes the challenge of making it real. Joe, you go, oh, that's a great scene. They went, oh my goodness, we have to figure out how to do it.
So how did they do it?
We shot with Dan for like 2 days all on his own, but we'd have the actors he was playing alongside us. So Dan would watch Fleur take off her top and talk to Bill, and he'd study that very, very carefully. And then we'd talk together about how she would do that, and she would explain to Dan why she moved in a certain way, and Dan would listen, and then Dan would have a go.
We then had body doubles for every different Harry, so when we see them getting the clothes out of the bag, you'll have body doubles putting arms in to take out bits of clothing. I mean, it took a long, long time.
As for Harry,
Yes.
the real Harry, where the devil are you anyway?
Here.
I think for Dan it was kind of quite weird because he had to kind of play everyone else, and he had to kind of watch us all kind of walk and kind of all our body language and that, and kind of try and mimic it.
And it's funny what you notice about people when you look closely, even when you know them really well.
Wow, we're identical.
Rupert walks with a really, really sort of sexy wiggle in his hips. He really swings his hips. Well, just suddenly, like, obviously Rupert's a good-looking guy anyway, but I thought, I bet that has something to do with while the girls like him, because he just walks with this kind of...
He's got a wiggle.
He struts. It's really, really cool.
Were you looking at it thinking, actually, that reminds me of someone I know?
Well, yeah, because he kind of found out I do this weird kind of hip wiggle thing when I walk.
You do a hip wiggle thing?
Apparently, yeah. I've never really been aware of it, but...
Have you noticed it since?
I'm quite conscious of it now, yeah.
For the actual process of morphing one character into another, the visual effects team used an unusual technique.
When we kind of morph into Harry, it kind of affects us quite badly, and we're doing these weird kind of face things. So they use this special, like, I think it was like 1,000 cameras kind of at once.
No way.
Like, filming different parts of our phone. We had to wear this, like, glow-in-the-dark face paint as well.
How cool.
I didn't quite understand why we had to wear the face paint, but...
They were just having a laugh. They were just sitting there going, yeah, more face paint.
Yeah.
They'll never ask why.
My husband, the Joker.
This scene sees the first ever appearance of Bill Weasley, played by Donald Gleeson, son of Brendan, who fans will know as Mad-Eye Moody.
We've got to get the hell out of here!
But I had really good fun. I've got a funny little bit of business in there that'll only be in the background, but that I really enjoy doing. So I think.
What should we be looking out for? What's the business?
I have to help Dan. Well, kind of help Dan Radcliffe with his bra.
Okay.
So let me tell you, Dan had trouble opening a bra. No, hang on, cut that. Clémence is Fleur in the film is changing into Harry, so she changes in and she's trying to take off her clothes and she's got them. Seeing Dan in a bra was pretty hilarious.
So he puts on her clothes and has to then get them off, sort of thing?
Yeah. So he's
her.
trying to unhook the bra at the back, and we had to cut a couple of times because he was having trouble. But that was only because it was on him.
Yes.
If he'd been taking it off,
Fine.
me
Seconds.
or a girl, I'm sure it would have been fine.
If they use the take I like, it's a one-handed job.
I knew she was lying about that tattoo.
Harry, your eyesight really is awful.
Dan plays women really well, actually. He sort of enjoyed that bit. He played Emma really well, and he played Fleur really well.
I was actually quite pleased, and this is only going to add fuel to the fires, the rumour that I'm gay. I don't really care, I'm so past the point of caring, I really don't. But I looked fantastic in Fleur's outfit, right? I thought I looked really good.
What on earth were you having to wear?
It was these sort of skin-tight trousers.
Right, okay.
With sort of jeans, with, it was quite a
clingy
top,
top.
and a nice little blue sort of crop jacket on top. Really nice, man. Different button configuration, really cool. I was really pleased.
The detailing kind of worked. I bet it really brought your eyes out.
It did, Ben, it did. Absolutely, it did.
The Seven Harrys was complicated enough, but then we had the chase, which was a really complex sequence. David really wanted to develop a real, chase that involved not only an aerial battle when the Death Eaters turn up, but also he wanted to have his sort of road chase as well. So we use a technique called previs. We do an animation, basically, of what we think the whole story is going to be about. We spent about 6 months, actually, in pre-visualization, designing that sequence.
So that's 6 months preparation before any filming took place, and then this amazing sequence was shot in 7 locations, making it one of the most complex in Harry Potter history. How do you know you're getting all the right bits and pieces and you've got the shots that you need?
It's a long process. The opening chase, there will be something significantly shot from that sequence from April 2009, and we'll finish shooting it in April 2010. Every month there is something to do with that sequence.
So it takes a year just to put together that short, very dramatic and important, but that sequence.
Which will be under 2 minutes long.
For 2 months they've been filming, and it all ends right here, all that time, all that effort, in a muddy bog in the reeds by the Weasley's house. After the break, we go behind the scenes of a Weasley wedding.
Had to dance with Daddy Weasley, the two of us.
We find out what Voldemort's up to.
He murdered some people in some very, very...
gruesome.
Yeah, I don't even know the right words for it.
And get under the skin of these extraordinary creatures.
Master Weasley, so good to see you again.
We can train us.
After all those Harrys, I need a bit of a rest, so I've come to Ron's bedroom. And look, even teenage wizards can't find the wash basket. I'm gonna have a bit of a kip. See you in a bit.